Very good evening, everyone, and welcome to the MODUS Super Series. It's a second session on our Good Friday's proceedings at the Live Lounge here in Portsmouth, where Group B will conclude tonight. But before we head there, let's see what happened this afternoon. For Vitas Sedlak, our Czech qualifier this week, well, he checked out of Group C, finishing bottom of the table. As for Sean Griffiths, he couldn't really push on Friday, but he did manage to win his final game of the day, so at least he left the Live Lounge with at least something to shout about. As for Chris Wickenden, a couple of defeats here and there kind of came to cost him in the end. He was in and around, but never really contended for the top two spots. As for Ryan Murray, it was legs difference that came to cost him in the end. He found himself on that magical 14-point mark, but it wasn't enough to see him through because Chris Gilliland would go through on that figure. He was the man at the top of the table for the most part of the campaign. But he was pipped to the post by Neil Duff, the Duff man, finishing top of the table on 16 points. The reigning WDF World Champion will be hoping that 1 year on, he'll be picking up another major honour here at the Live Lounge. So that is what we saw this afternoon. Primetime Matthew Edgar was here to watch all of that alongside me. And in the end, Neil Duff came back from a slow start to then get over the line in emphatic fashion.
That last game from Neil Duff, we say champions know when to produce it, and Neil Duff is a champion, and he produced it at the right times at the back end of the day. He wasn't great all the time, though, and that's something that we've alluded to quite a lot today, and we're seeing that in terms of his tournament form as well. He won a seniors tour title and then crashed out the next one with a 73 average, so he's just got to maybe look at that consistency side of things, but certainly when he gets it right, he is certainly tabletop in form.
Well, let's see how the table panned out then in the end. As I say, Neil Duff, the victor in the end. Chris Gilliland and Ryan Murray on 14 points respectively. Now, we're going to have a little bit of a chat about your rule of three, Matt, because by and large it does come up trumps, but we're getting situations more and more often now where that 14 points may not be enough.
In this group, it comes down to the players that are in 5th and 6th position because there's 6 points shared between them. In that situation, 4 of those points would have come from each other. So between the 2 players at the bottom, they only managed to pick up 2 points from the rest of the group. When that happens, that's when that rule of 3 can go to legs difference. But it's quite a rarity, and for that to happen, we do need 2 players to be at the bottom, not really picking up too much.
Well, last time we scrutinised a rule of 3 that much, it was 2020. Right, let's break down that group numerically, shall we, and see how it went by the numbers. We saw 82 legs played. Interestingly, the highest checkout was only 121 by Neil Duff, who also posted the highest average of the day. But in terms of the overall average and checkout rate, saying about par for the course?
Checkout rate? That's where we expect, or that's where it should be if you want to be successful in the Super Series. Overall average, that's down. That's down on what it was from day one. Day one was much, much better. I think about 88. So really down on the overall average, but that does come down to, like we've already alluded to, the players sat in 5th and 6th position, just not competitive within that group.
Well, that was Group C, and that is what we saw this afternoon. But this evening, we're ready to see the conclusion of Group B, where the final half of our finals field will be confirmed. We're going to show you the table overnight, and, well, Matthew Edgar, now, if you can try and decipher this, you will win the reward for Pundit of the Year.
Am I not getting that already?
Well, there's a nomination process, but you can have it outright if you can try and discuss this.
Well, Abby was trying to get out of me yesterday. She was questioning beforehand, halfway through and at the end, and I literally just passed the question all the time. The table speaks for itself. I don't think there's many more words I can add. The table does everything for it. It is a very tight group. We are separated by 6 legs from top to bottom. And how can you decide that? Well, it's down to the players tonight. It's anyone can get through from this 5.
Right, take your pundit hat off, put your player hat on here now. If you're in this scenario where it's 4 points every single player and you're sat in that practice room, what would you be thinking to yourself?
Why am I not top of the league would be my first thing, because I'm a very selfish player, but you've got to be in this sort of situation. That's what we're going to see tonight. We're going to see that sort of side come through. I'm imagining in the practice room as well, there's going to be people wanting certain results to happen throughout the day, and there'll be people gathering around the TV screens and watching it. Tonight's going to be a night of drama. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds and how different players change throughout the night as the situation changes.
This will be one that's going to go down potentially to the very last start. Let's have a look and see how the bookmakers have priced this apart. And, well, good luck to the bookies trying to prize them apart. And it's not very often you see one of the players at the bottom of the table then go off as bookmakers' rate. But this is the unique scenario that the Super Series has brought up tonight.
Well, Lukas Wenig yesterday, I said that I felt that the bookies sort of over-egged him a little bit. He was far too strong a favourite for this group. I think he's now about where he should be at the 9-4. Reece Colley opened yesterday at 9-1. I said that was the total opposite end, where I think they writ him off a little bit too easy there. And, well, I wouldn't want to price this one up, to be fair. I'd have probably just gone 7-2 the lot and let you take a pick.
Well, talking about picks, it's time for prime time's picks. Let's see what Mr. Matthew Edgar himself thinks about tonight's action. It's a nice little 4.92 to 1 treble for you here, Matt, and it begins with the game between Reed and Wenig.
Yeah, I think, again, we've got to look a little bit deeper into the markets again today and into those sort of handicaps, 180s. I'm not too sure about the big finishers. We didn't see many of those yesterday. We saw the 170 from Darren Johnson, a 107 from Darren Johnson, but there wasn't a lot of big finishers last night, so I would stay away from those type of markets, and I'd be looking potentially at the 180s, because this was a group that hit plenty of those. And
if you are having a flutter, 18+, begambleaware.org. Well, we are almost ready for our first game of the evening. Both of these players are tied on 4 points when it comes to the league table. I think we'll be saying that a fair bit this evening. It sees Lukas Wenig in action. He takes on Martyn Turner, the reigning Isle of Man champion. This man is going to make his way down to the commentary box to join Chris Mason. Hello, Chris.
Good evening, Henry. And, well, what a group we have. And somehow, over the next 3.5 hours or so, 5 has somehow got to become 3. We already have 3 safely through to tomorrow night's final. And that is John Henderson, winner of Group A. Neil Duff, winner of Group C. Runner-up in Group C. And the top 3 from this Group B. But who is going to be in that top 3? I'm not so sure. I'm tempted with Dan Reed.
First flag is Lukas to throw first.
I think Lukas Wenig.
Game on.
Is too good to miss out, but even this early stage tonight, this is a big game for both, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I'm looking through the numbers of last night, and I think Lukas Wenig is getting to that point of his career where we sort of expect quite a bit from him, and we look at last night's performance and we said that maybe he didn't perform as well as he could. Well, he averaged 90.
Over the night?
Over the night, 90.04.
And that just shows you how poor then a lot of the other players must
45.
have been, because a running average of down at 82 is well below where we'd expect a Group B, isn't it? 90 across the board is more than acceptable.
Well, Martyn Turner yesterday was 85.84, but he did have the most starts at the double of anybody in Group B, which tells me that scoring power of Martyn Turner has gone up a notch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's found
60.
some new confidence on the back of winning that Isle of Man Open. And that's what winning does. Gives you belief.
140.
Is Lukas Wenig tighten up towards the end of every session he's played in. We picked up on the fact that
66.
Sedlak had not won any of his final games across the course of the week, and that continued in the final match today.
55. Martyn Turner 155.
Lukas was comprehensively beaten by Martyn Turner in this final match of
139.
last night's session, 4-1. And it was a disappointing performance from Lukas, only averaged 80.
Martyn Turner
This
16.
is an example of that increased scoring power of Martyn Turner. This is a leg against the darts, and he's got 3 darts in his hand.
14.
That was also
68.
part of the problem. He had 46 darts at the double, converted 13. Quite like this way for 68.
Game shot on the
Especially
first
for a player who
leg.
likes the
Lukas Wenig.
double 16. Lukas Wenig holds on by his fingertips on that one. Martyn Turner missing a handful of darts at the double.
Second leg, Martyn to throw first. Game on. $60.
We could quite likely end up with a scenario like last night where everybody wins 2 and loses 2.
It's not happened yet, to my knowledge, but I really want to see it happen. And this could be the group that it actually does get over the line. What do you think,
60.
Henry up on the balcony? Do you lend him that shirt that he's wearing tonight?
No, that's not one of mine.
The naughty little number he's got on
It is
tonight.
naughty.
Isn't it?
60.
You like the fact that he makes a big effort on finals night.
180.
Why don't you make an effort on finals night and join us here at the MODUS Live Lounge? If you're one of these techie type people and you have one of them
100.
scanners on your phone, there you go, look. Scan that and that will give you all the details on how you can join us tomorrow night. I've got a new toy.
You've been dying to press that, haven't you? I'm surprised it took you a whole leg.
That's about as techie as I get. Or, alternatively, just head over to www.dartshop.tv. You have to reserve your ticket.
Martyn Turner 144.
Just to ensure we don't have any silly nonsense where we've had people booking multiple tickets.
88.
Why
Lukas
would it be
Wenig
that sad enough to do
146.
that? I'm not sure, but there you go. Doors open at 6:30 tomorrow night. We're on London Road in Portsmouth. Double 16 for a beauty.
He fancies this, doesn't he? He's stepped back. He's given himself the nod of
Game shot on the
approval.
second leg.
He knew that
Lukas
was going,
Wenig.
and that's confidence. There's a very good sign there for Lukas Wenig for the challenge ahead of getting through this group. His first ton-plus finish. He joins the Yorkshire boys. Darren Johnson and Martyn Turner, the only 2 to record one.
Yeah, they've dominated that department.
$83.
Welcome along as well if you're joining us on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. If you're watching
140.
outside of the UK, welcome to our Sporty Stuff TV viewers. Welcome along, or hopefully welcome back.
96.
And of course, welcome to all of our viewers watching on their chosen bookmakers site.
100.
Well, you'll be happy to see that table full of stuff this evening. Been a bit bare, hasn't it, at times this week?
98.
Yeah, it does surprise me that players have been going up there with a lack of spares and running repairs. It doesn't take much just to bend a point or ruin a flight.
25.
Snap a stamp.
I don't recall a game that's ever had to finish with a player only throwing 2 darts or borrowing a different one, but
Very nearly when Scott Taylor had a dart go down our
140.
smoke machine holes, which are now got grills on.
Stephen Burton dropped one down.
Oh,
there
that's
as well,
what I'm
didn't
thinking
he?
of. Stephen Burton, correct.
100.
Yeah, so we had
Lukas
to
Wenig,
borrow a
84.
dart before we could fish it out from under the stage.
Adam Warner also lost a dart down here as part of his celebration. It was found up on the lights, I believe.
Well, he threw them in the air.
Green shot on the third leg. Lukas Wenig.
3 from 3 for Lukas Wenig. He's only needing one dart at the double. He could pop up there and get Adam Warner's down. Just use that one.
Fourth leg Martyn to throw first. Game on.
Well, I'm sure you've seen that celebration just before
Yes,
Christmas, and I'm surprised there weren't a couple of his mates hanging up
100.
there as well, the way they was throwing each other around.
Yeah, it was great. Great for him, sad for us. He couldn't come back to play in Champions Week. Yeah, she went on to get a
46.
tour card. I do believe he's in this weekend's Euro Tour, isn't he? Over in Munich.
Yeah, I enjoyed
96.
watching the story of Adam Warner. Be interesting to see how that one develops.
Yeah, how far can he go?
For me, that just before
81.
Christmas as well, them scenes, that for me is one of the moments of the Super Series. Just that sheer
55.
joy and elation. They drove down from Sheffield, all those people that came to support him. That, if you're not familiar with the UK, is probably without traffic about 4.5, 5 hours.
Easily. When
60.
do you have no traffic?
30.
One of my favourite stories when Tony Wood qualified for a Saturday night final a few weeks ago, and one of his pals drove his missus down all the way down from Newcastle and dropped her off and
57.
drove all the way home. How nice is that? That's a proper pal.
I don't even think I'd pay for the train fare, never mind the full
180.
drive.
I was just about to say that if Lukas Wenig won this 4-0, the implications in terms of leg difference would be massive
60.
for him,
Martyn Turner,
because
40.
he's currently on -2.
Well, he'd just switch around with Martyn Turner, wouldn't he? He was on +2. A complete flip-flop. He's looking at the score, he's contemplating the bust.
30.
And I think once the idea comes into your mind to take the bust, I think you need to go with it, because he looked at the scoreboard to see if he could do it, and he could have busted and then opted not to in the end.
Yeah, never second guess.
137. Martyn Turner 10.
Just shows that little seed of doubt. This is why, because now he's got to split the 5.
6.
Cooper in the
Lukas Turner
dark.
60.
Finishing has been immaculate. 3 from 3. Can he make it 4 from 4 and make it 4-0?
Game
Well, in
shot
it
of the
goes,
match,
and he
Lukas
does
Wenig.
produce a immaculate display of finishing. Lukas Wenig makes the absolute perfect start to his evening. His attempt to qualify for finals night, end average 85.89, 3 140s, but look at that, a 146 finish and 4 from 4. When we come back, he's going to be Reece Colley against Dan Reed.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where it is the perfect start to the evening as far as Lukas Wenig is concerned. A 4-0 success against Martyn Turner in our first match of the evening. Second up for us, it is Reece Colley in action. He takes on Dan Reid. That's being watched by Matt and Chris.
Thank you very much, H. And, well, on the back of Lukas Wenig's performance, one of these two you'd fancy will have to follow suit.
Well, the key thing to remember with this group is it's not all about winning the group. Winning the group is obviously the big goal and the big bonus, but the main thing is getting through to Saturday night, which I'm sure if we interviewed all 5 of these players at the start of the day, they'd say, I just want to confirm my place first, then I'll worry about winning the group, because such a tight group.
Well, we always say 10 points in Group B, don't we? Is usually more than, well, it's usually pretty much guaranteed, but very much like we've seen in Group C, the opposite of this, where you had 2 stragglers that were sort of giving up points all over the place, which is why you ended up with someone on 14 not qualifying.
44.
It is a rarity that happens, but it does require the stragglers in the pack, and when you assume that they've got 6 points and 4 of them are against each other, only taking 2 points from the entire field off of 2 players, you're going to get that situation. We don't have that here because everyone's already got 2 wins, if not more.
135.
Busy period for you, Matt, as you prepare for your
100.
return. You're off to Iceland, aren't you, to play in the Iceland Masters? Face of the tournament.
Be there in a couple of weeks' time. Really looking forward to that and getting a bit of Super Series action in as well. What can I expect? I do not know.
That's nice sometimes, the unknown.
85. Reece Colley,
I'm just glad that
142.
I didn't go in week 9 and come into this group.
41.
Although the way the Super Series is going, you look at the weeks and I've been ticking them off going, oh, I'm glad I missed that week. Glad I missed that week.
58.
Don't think there's
Reece
many
Colley,
weeks now where you think
101.
I'd really fancy having a go at that one.
No.
69.
I was just going to say how ironic that would be, because I stood there at the top of the show saying maybe one of the markets to avoid is the big finishers, because we haven't really seen many, and we could have seen 2 in the first 2 matches.
41. Reece Colley, 32.
Lukas Wenig treating us to a 146.
No score.
Treated us to some immaculate finishing, didn't we? 4 from 4.
Couple of darts to settle Reece
43.
Colley into this
Reece
one
Colley,
on the
32.
doubles. You had 40 darts at the double yesterday, converted 13.
16.
And
Daniel
that
Carr,
level of finishing
116.
will come back to bite him.
He did manage to carve out an 88.74 running average, but when it comes to doubles, Dan's the man. Even though he doesn't believe he is.
76.
Check out percentage
Reece
yesterday.
Colley, 16.
He had 21 darts at the double and hit 12.
Yeah, that's stunning.
And that's yesterday. When we're looking at today, this is 9.
No
that
score.
is 10
Daniel Carr, 40.
without return. Dan Reid has got an opportunity to steal.
Game shot in the first leg. Dan Reid.
That's what it'll feel like as well. To him, he'll think, jackpot.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have even had a shot. And to
Something
Reece
like
Colley,
Dan
he's going to
to
feel like
first.
someone's
Game
come in on Christmas Day and ran off with all his presents.
Yeah, it just leaves you with just such a sour taste in your mouth.
95.
Makes you feel a little sick when that happens. Especially it was such a dominant leg.
100.
Have you been to Iceland before?
No, this will be the first
85.
time. The one thing I know about it, though, from my studies and research, is it's very expensive.
You'll really enjoy that.
140.
I was told that a pint of the old beer would cost between £8 to £10.
44.
Oh, no chance of you getting drunk over that weekend then. One pint will be lasting you about 4 hours.
140.
Just hope lemonade's not as cheap or as expensive, because if lemonade's not as expensive, I could maybe make like 4 shandies out of it.
45. Reece Colley 121.
Oh, the salary must be high over there.
That'll be you looking for accommodation over there
81.
over the next few months. Carbon copy of the first leg here, Reece Colley. He's a double after 12, races into the lead.
40.
He's Dan Reid in the dust, but can he fix the
Finish on
problem?
second leg,
Different
Reece
target
Colley.
and straight in the middle there for Reece Colley. That will make him feel so much better after what happened in the last leg. You always say it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to what happens to you.
Game on.
That is a very good reaction there from Reece Colley.
91. 100. 70.
One of the exciting things about darts, isn't it? The worldwide factor of the
55.
game. How you'd see all the different countries and go to all these different places to play the sport.
95.
In some cases, people doing it to promote the sport as well when they go on things like the World Series, which we've seen go into New York last year. A great opportunity for the players that went to that trip.
32.
I can inform you of a can of beans in Iceland. About 50 pence. So
57.
at least you'll be able to eat.
How much is bread?
45.
By my reckoning, the average salary a month over there is
70.
about £3.5 grand. Doesn't interest me, but there you go.
79.
Like your weekly salary.
Reece
that one,
Colley
isn't it?
118.
Nearly.
$98.
Pop the tops in for our first ton plus out of this one. Yet again, Dan Reid has just not got his scoring boots on so far tonight.
81. Reece
Yeah,
Colley
he's
20.
averaging 66. And
Getting shot
that's
on the
why
third
Reece Colley
leg.
is
Reece
getting so
Colley.
many opportunities at the doubles, which he's now starting to hit. Dan Reid a long way off of his game, and since the last time I saw Dan Reid play, I'm noticing a
Qualified
change of
counter through
equipment.
first. Game on.
The stems are, I think, more just design than anything, but that is definitely a new barrel that Dan Reid's using.
Yeah.
Got some
140.
serious grip patterns on it as well. In sort of 3 different grip areas. He's got that bit at the front, which is
100.
almost like looking like a bit of a ring grip. Then he's got that middle section.
Yeah, well, he only literally holds the barrel right at the end of the barrel where you've got
85.
that traditional looking ring grip. You're using a micro sort of ring grip, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's just on
100.
the grip finger as such. But when I look at Dan Reid, I'm looking at this middle section here. Some people look at things as like putting a scallop in the dart, but it does change how
40.
it flies very slightly.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's got this grip pattern in there to stop him from sliding up and down the barrel. So when he feels that the grip's changing to
131.
the different grip, that he knows that the grip's changing the hand.
Yeah, well, when I eventually changed barrel, I basically covered my,
58.
well, they were
Reece
Bristos at
Colley
the time, in
170.
permanent marker, let them dry, and then and then just practiced for a few hours until I actually saw a point where it was war.
105.
And Red Dragon then basically designed me the dart with the tiniest scallop, so I could only hold the dart in exactly the same spot, because what I found I was doing was moving up and down the barrel.
38.
Of course, that loses
Reece
then
Colley,
the balance
65.
of dart on release. But you're right, what it did do then was make the centre of balance on the barrel slightly
25.
off.
Danukar, 140.
That's why it's better to just change the pattern on the dart rather than cut into the dart. That's what Dan Reed might have
100.
done with this
Reece
design.
Colley,
It's
40.
nice on the eye, but you won't be liking where they're landing.
Getting shot on the fourth leg. Reece Colley.
Reece Colley, a leg away from joining Lukas Wenig on 6 points. Martyn Turner will be back on in our next game against his
Fifth leg Reece to throw first. Game on.
fellow countyman, Darren Johnson. And because Martyn Turner's already played a game and lost, that's going to become quite a big game for Martyn Turner, because he could find himself getting cut away a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. Reece Colley will actually go
100.
top on leg difference if he can get the job done here. He will go on to 6 points and +6.
180.
Here we go.
Call it home, mate. Come on. We said there was going to be one.
Well, we was teased to 2 this afternoon. We got to this point
57.
twice.
Reece Colley, 141.
And Reece Colley get us over the line. Double 12. Oh, Reece Colley
129.
just pulls it low. I thought that was the moment. So did Reece. Not a flicker of emotion from Dan Reed. But that was for the match. We've never had a 9-darter for the match. That would have been a
95. Reece
first.
Colley, 12.
Yeah, you could just see that Spider-Man you mentioned on release, couldn't you?
But job at hand. This is the most important thing for Reece Colley. Get the points.
Getting shot in
And
the
he
match.
does
Reece Colley.
with a 10-dart leg. He missed 10 darts at the double in the opening leg and then wraps it up with 10 darts to win. Really good effort on the 9-darter there for Reece Colley, but the most important thing is the 2 points. He now moves to the top of the table. That's how much this table is going to flip-flop throughout the night. Martyn Turner's coming up next. He's taking on Darren Johnson.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we were oh so close to perfection from Reece Colley, but he managed to get over the line against Dan Reed by 4 legs to 1 in our second match of the evening. Game 3 of our session sees a return for Martyn Turner. He takes on Darren Johnson, the last player we're yet to see so far this evening. And for the third time this evening, it's a battle between two players locked on 4 points. It feels like a darting Groundhog Day in that particular respect. In the commentary box then for our third match of the evening, here's Chris Mason and Matthew Redker.
Thank you very much, Henry. Well, we may not have had perfection on the stage, but there's perfection in the commentary box.
When's that arriving? This game is probably more important for Martyn Turner because he has already played a game. He's already on 5, so this is his 6th fixture. Darren Johnson, this is the first time we're seeing him tonight. So this is almost like a game in hand on the situation that we are seeing unravel before our eyes, where we've still got that possibility of all the players being on 8 points.
And Darren won the battle of the best friends last night. It was a real edgy match, wasn't it? Went all the way. He nicked it 4-3 in the end.
Do feel that's how Darren Johnson's evening ended for him.
First
It was getting a little bit more
to throw first.
edgy towards the end of the night. He had a 77 and a 79. His best stuff did come early on.
Yeah, he was tidy early doors.
Overall average for the day was an 82.22. 9 from 21 on the doubles. Good return.
Yeah, and that will probably disappoint him even more, the fact that he finished okay, but didn't score as well as he probably would have hoped.
He has trekked to the biggest finish possible on a dartboard. He did that last night, the 170.
Yep, our first one of the week.
It was for the match as well, which is always a bit extra
44.
special. There's been some iconic 170 finishers to win matches. Colin Lloyd to win the world match play. Nathan Aspinall to win the UK Open. Matt Edgar to beat
96.
Gary Anderson.
Never mentioned it. When was that?
140.
Anki to beat Baxter the year I should have won it.
$134. Down in your car, 137.
Iconic 170s, and of course the ultimate way to win a match is on a 9, and we've seen that from Willie Borland, of course, against Bradley Brooks, wasn't it, in the Worlds? What a place to do it.
Nearly saw it tonight in that last game with Reece Colley.
95.
Yep. Ended up going out in 10. Just had the slightest pull, didn't he, on the double 12.
He was in a lovely rhythm as well, though. It just felt so likely.
Yeah.
Game shown in the
And
first
that
leg.
felt so
Martyn
likely
Turner.
as well. Because of how Martyn Turner's darts lay, when he goes and collects his darts out from that camera angle, you'll be able to see it better, that his darts sit down. They're not flat in the board.
Saying like Darren to throw first.
Sort of
Game on.
flight down, and where that was, it would have just almost opened up the double 19, a bit like a basketball backboard.
85.
It would have just allowed him to
I like that analogy.
use the double.
100.
We spoke earlier, didn't we, about sports that look the same but are different. In netball and basketball, one of those, you've got a hoop, you throw the ball in it, but actually it's completely different skill.
60.
When we're talking about the difference between soft tip and steel tip, comparing it to the pool and snooker.
140.
Yep, they've both got balls and pockets like a dartboard and darts, but they are a completely different game.
100.
Completely different approach and a completely different skill level.
One of those things to try out, really, isn't it? Darts,
57.
we sit here and we watch it. It looks really simple and easy. And then
Well, Mark
here we go.
Selby started off as a ball player, of course.
140.
With pool and snooker, I'm very consistent. Terrible at both.
Yeah, Touche. And
45.
as a kid, I
Daniel Carr,
predominantly practiced
116.
in a snooker hall. Would often play, but it's a game I just couldn't get my head around.
Game shot on the second leg. Darren Johnson.
He's a man who loves the big finishes. That's his third of the week so far.
Third leg, Martyn to throw
Much better
first.
game, this one.
Game on.
15-dart hold in leg 1 for Martyn Turner. Taking out 95. 15-dart in leg 2 for
45.
Darren Johnson. Taking out 116.
Can't remember if it was Michael Smith or Dave Chisnell who said they used to practice in a snooker hall, and when the light would go
45.
on the snooker table, they knew it was 30 minutes from when someone had put a coin in. So they used to count how many 180s they could hit until the light went out.
Wow.
44.
I like that. Good knowledge.
Be even better if I could remember the actual
45.
figure of the record for the 180s, but I know it was like an obscene amount. But I remember the story.
60. $96. One out
I
of
do love
40.
watching a player who uses this sort of system, these small flights. When it's going well like that, I just love watching them sort of just plonk on top of the other.
95.
What did surprise me is Martyn Turner was leaving tops a lot yesterday. Tend to find that the players who like this sort of
123.
system don't tend to like tops because everything acts as a blocker.
$78. Martyn Turner, 89.
Gonna go for the ball. Always
55.
left. The most
Daniel Carr,
unused double on the
142.
dartboard, the double 17. But do you think that would suit Martyn Turner for the same reason the 19 suited him? We will get to find out. He will want this dart either in
42.
or
Martyn Turner,
just on the
34.
bottom wire.
$18.
180
Daniel Carr,
record. It was
100.
Incredible, that tally that Michael Smith achieved, wasn't it, at the Worlds? He obliterated the previous record by 12, which was held by Gary Anderson, whose
Game
record
shot
was
on the third
71,
leg.
and
Darren Johnson.
Michael Smith at 83.
He's been setting a lot of 180 records, Michael Smith. I think he broke the
Well,
yearly
like Darren
tally,
did
didn't he, for
first.
180s
Game
by
on.
about September last year. Then again, he is getting a lot of extra games as well because
Yeah.
he's been going on deep runs to finals left, right and centre.
131.
That's the dart that Martyn Turner
60.
likes to see. Wasn't able to use it on this occasion.
$57.
Been through the practice room last night and tonight, and know these two, Martyn Turner and
100.
Darren Johnson, met them many times. They do like to get stuck into each other a little bit. They like a bit of the old Yorkshire banter. And I just wonder what it'd be like in the hotel room. I know that
39.
they're very supportive of each other. Last time Darren Johnson got through, Martyn Turner didn't. He came down on the Saturday, sat in the crowd to support. And they
95.
certainly, Darren Johnson let him know about that as well. There was plenty of good jest going on.
Yeah, like I said last night, they've been pals for a long time.
100.
Where one is, the other one usually isn't too far away.
Me and my shadow.
Darren Johnson, an avid
100.
collector of watches. Has some absolute beauties. Some very rare ones. investment nowadays,
98.
of course.
Martyn Turner 146.
Last watch
50.
I had was one of those
Darren
candy ones that
76.
used to trap the hairs in your arms. It's been like a piece of elastic, didn't it?
36. Martyn Turner 96.
Might go double-double here.
56.
He's not the
Darren
first
Johnson
part,
40.
Unable to hit the tops, and we said he likes to leave tops. It's tops for Darren Johnson.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Darren Johnson.
3-1 lead, and Darren Johnson, because he has a game in hand, started this bottom of the table, but it's another one where he could leapfrog himself up the table because everyone's starting on 4 points.
This leg Martyn to throw
Go
first.
from
Game on.
bottom to third. He'll take third spot off of this man if he can
45.
get it done 4-1. Put himself in a strong position.
43.
Finishing has been key to the current scoreline. He's 3 from 4, 75%.
85.
Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us here at the MODUS Super Series, at MSS Darts, all one word, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and
59.
TikTok. And if you want to contact Matt direct, you can do.
Yeah, just check in the handle at the Edgar 501.
140.
It'll pop up on my screen and we can have a read and interact with you this evening as we're all sat enjoying the darts in Group B.
141.
You've all enjoyed a good Friday. Weather's been nice, that's for sure. A report that
100.
my cat was very much enjoying the garden on a Friday afternoon. Plenty of sun.
45. Martyn Turner 131.
A little bit of time on his hands, something that he's not really been afforded the luxury of too much in this battle
95.
with Darren Johnson. But he will come back with 3 darts in hand at the double 18. A double that he hit not too long ago as part of a 96 combination. He might have more time than he expected.
61. Martyn Turner 36.
Yeah, the real work for Martyn starts in leg 6 because it's going to
Game
be
shot on the
Darren
fifth leg. Martyn
who
Turner.
will have the honour.
It's interesting when we look at the sports book for this group
6 leg
and
Darren to
for
throw
the
first.
week.
Game on.
John Henderson is already through. Chris Gilliland already through. Neil Duff already through. So with that, and the way this group has gone, you'd
140.
expect either Chris Gilliland or Neil Duff to be second favourite. It's actually Lukas Wenig. And that's for the week. So they clearly expect that he's going to get through
57.
this group. And then installing him as one of the real hot prospects to win week 9.
What is his odds
56.
to win the group Saturday night? Despite the fact he's not even there yet.
To win Saturday night, he is 4-1 second favourite.
To John Henderson.
John Henderson, who is 15 to 8.
135.
Do you have any feelings on it yet, or will you wait until we have our complete
45.
lineup?
I think a lot of it rides on John Henderson. Because if John Henderson hits peak John Henderson, I think he wins.
139.
A proven winner here as well, isn't he?
Not just here, worldwide.
Yeah.
Where we can look at players like Lukas Wenig and say what they're going to go and do.
100.
But John
Martyn
Henderson
Turner
has done
170.
it.
How's the knowledge?
That the work needed to start at this point for Martyn Turner. The last 6 darts have
54.
certainly been that, a
Darren Johnson
135
160.
and a 139. But that was the one where Big Treble would have really strengthened his position in this one.
100. Martyn Turner 116.
116 might have to go. Darren Johnson on a 2-darter. 2-darter for 2
88.
points.
Darren Johnson 60.
to move himself on to 6.
Game shot in the match, Darren Johnson.
And for the second time this evening, Martyn Turner is on the wrong end of the scoreline. Darren Johnson starts his campaign off perfectly. The victory over his good friend Martyn Turner, who is the first player of our 5 to now need to send off the distress signals. He is going to need to pick up victories in his last couple of games. But coming up next, we're going to watch Lukas Wenig take on Dan Reed.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
The MODUS Super Series available 6 days a week, and you can be a part of finals night each and every single one of our Saturday evenings here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Head over to our website, it's www.dartshop.tv, and you can also scan our QR code, which will be available throughout the course of the evening as part of our coverage. Well, we're going to move into Game 4 now, and we're going to see Dan Reed back in action. He takes on Lukas Wenig, the man who opened up his night with a 4-0 success. In the commentary box for this one, Matthew Redger and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry.
And don't forget, you can scan the QR code. There it is on your screen. Little T-Rex dinosaur thing in the middle there as well. Just scan that on your phone and it'll knock you through to the book your tickets to come and join us on Saturday, as explained by Henry. But who will be there is the big question. Lukas Wenig already on 6 points. Dan Reed
Looks like it's done to throw first.
could be
Game on.
a bit of a separator here if he isn't to pick up a victory, because both him and Martyn Turner would move on to 6 games played.
100.
We're probably going to say quite a bit throughout the evening that this is a big match. That one was
99.
a big game for Martyn Turner. This one for Dan Reed. Lukas Wenig was impressive in his opening game. 4 from 4 on the doubles,
60.
which did include that 1-4-6. It's not really a weakness for Lukas Wenig. He was 10 from 33 attempts yesterday, which is near enough the
92.
33% that we'd expect from players. You can't give Dan Reed opportunities. 21
60.
darts thrown, 12 hit yesterday. And 1 from 1 in his opening game, but he was so far off the pace in that opener. Maybe that was just a
44.
sign of the league table leaking through.
Yeah, absolutely. You could almost feel it happening in front of your eyes.
44.
But again, this is very much like Martyn Turner in our previous match. Dan Reed in a similar position, having played one and lost one.
99.
Almost at this stage a must-win game. He's going to find himself separated from the group.
180. Lukas Wenig, 167.
Well, that was good timing. It's not gone for him so far this evening, but
45. Daniel Carr,
Perfect.
57.
way to kick-start your Friday evening, your Good Friday.
Well, it just sends
Game
out
shot
a
of the
message,
first
doesn't
leg.
it,
Dan
to
Reed.
Lukas and the field. Yeah, I may have lost my opening game, but I'm very much in the mix.
Sounding like Lukas to throw first.
Two
Game on.
players will be going home this evening or tomorrow very disappointed, because everybody in this group will feel, especially
100.
well, even prior to the start yesterday evening, more so today, that they're more than capable of securing one of those top 3 spots.
85.
Just going back to the QR code, I'm sure you probably find the journey of this quite bizarre, because you probably remember black and white TVs with 1 channel.
60.
Then you remember 2 channels. And now we've got scanning mobile phones on the TV to bring you to certain websites.
I've never seen a black and white TV.
125.
You probably got excited at the mention of remote controls back in the day, and
Well,
now
I
you've
remember VHS and Betamax. I remember that. I remember my first
41.
mobile phone being the size of a brick. It was a Motorola thing.
with a big aerial on top.
Yeah, it weighed a ton.
100.
Is that the one with the big round OK button on the top?
I don't know why we had them. They weren't very good. Pretty useless, in fact.
You could change the aerial to a flashy one.
100.
Remember my first computer was a ZX Spectrum and then a Commodore 64. You had to put a cassette tape in it to load up a game that would take forever, even if it did work, which more often than not it didn't.
I often think
60.
about computer games
Daniel
and how
Carl,
we could
54.
get a darts-related computer game, and it's virtual reality.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe with the VR technology, there's a possibility
Shot
for
on the
a
second leg. Dan Reed.
darts game. As Dan Reed doubles his lead.
I think about that, but then I also going to put the counter argument up to my own possibility.
Third
in
leg
the
down
fact
to
that
two first.
I think it
Game
would
on.
take quite a bit of work to master a virtual reality darts game to the point where you might as well just play darts.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's so simple just to
30.
put a board up and get a set of darts, and way more affordable than VR.
They did have some games on the PlayStation and the
57.
Wii for the PDC darts games, but that once you worked out how to play them, you just averaged 120 every match.
Probably how
100.
MVG felt in his pomp.
It's one of those things that I'd like to see again, a darts-related game, but how you could do it, it's quite a hard game to make a computer game out of that would be a
45.
challenge without being too much of a challenge, so you might as well just play darts.
What's the football one where you have to get your team and...
Ultimate Team.
Yeah. Maybe you could do that where you
100.
sort of create the ultimate dart player.
Oh, that'd be an interesting question for the social media tonight, wouldn't it? If you are watching along at home,
Yeah,
what parts would you put together to make your key dart player?
139.
Yeah. What elements of everybody's game, the psychological side, the actual throw itself, the
45.
counting, which player would you create your ultimate darting monster?
100.
I think for action, you'd have to go with Steve Beaton.
Right up there, wouldn't he?
$85.
Me for
Lukas Wenig,
sportsmanship.
160.
Me for modesty.
100. Daniel Carl,
About
141.
you in there for the finishing, the 170.
Henry for composure.
91. Lukas Wenig, 60.
I think you want Dan Reed for finishing, to be fair.
Game shot
Or
on the
Lukas
third
Wenig,
leg. Lukas
who
Wenig.
has yet to miss a double tonight. 5 darts at a double, hit the lot.
Yes, yet to miss a double in tonight's session. 4 out of 4, of
Fourth leg,
course,
Lukas
in
to
the
throw first.
opening
Game
match of the
on.
night against Martyn Turner. A very important 17 darter there from Lukas, because it's the
96.
break back.
I mean, we say all this, don't we, about putting together your ultimate darter, but I think the ultimate darter was actually
100.
walked and lived on this earth in Phil Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the GOAT. And I know they say about not comparing
125.
eras, and especially darts, more so because the structure of the game now and the professionalism and the quality of the equipment
100.
and the boards and the environment as well. That's another thing. It's like that silly argument about the 9 darter and the 147. Well, how many 147s have been it? Well, 6,000 people have been going bonkers behind you. The 147s are always completed in perfect conditions.
97.
Which can't be said for our sport, I'm afraid.
And those 9 darters are often hit in front of 20 bananas.
100.
Mario and Luigi. Bananas is always the go-to with fancy dressing. There's always a banana.
Yeah,
100.
or a traffic cone.
80.
And that guy that's sat on the chicken with the legs either side.
Yeah, my personal favourite was at the Worlds a couple of years ago, and it was a group of lads, about
Game
9
shot
of
the
them,
fourth flag. Lukas Wenig.
and they were all dressed up as seagulls, and one of them was dressed up as a chip, and they all attacked him. It was
If they come
absolutely
to third
genius.
first, game on.
Proper stag do sort of attire,
Yeah.
that one, isn't it?
I was just so
95.
creative. It was brilliant.
I've seen some other good ones, but I might have to tell you in between the next game rather than
99.
live on the stick.
There was one at Minehead recently at the UK Open, and it was
100.
Top Gun, so they were all dressed up in the as they do, but the one fellow must have drew the short straw, had
85.
to dress up as the girl in the film. It was hilarious, especially as the fact he had size 12 feet, and I couldn't get my head around the fact that where on earth did they find a set of size 12 high
98.
heels?
Sure you took the number of the place for yourself?
He was walking around Minehead like he'd had a bit of an accident.
42.
To be fair, I've been at Minehead many times. I think most people walk around like they've had an accident down there.
Yeah, them 80s revivals weekends, there's something else. I've done a lot of exhibitions at
44.
various Butlins establishments for those weekends. Wow.
Speaking of the UK Open, these both played
Yep.
at the UK
45.
Open this year.
Danrukar
I believe Lukas
164.
Wenig lost to Jeffrey Deswan, who's having a bit of a resurgence recently.
Yeah, good to see. He went completely missing, didn't he? For a while.
79.
I believe he had an issue with the shoulder, which is something we're seeing a lot more injuries coming into darts because sort of the overuse injuries, aren't they, with the schedule getting
Yeah,
so
the
much.
RSIs, isn't it?
119. Danrukar 85.
Poor dart. Doesn't recover it. Lukas Wenig, of
29.
course, we
Lukas
about his
Lukar,
career being in its
111.
infancy, but go back as far as 2019 when he qualified for his first European Tour event in Germany.
'91. Danrukar 56.
He's only missed the one dart at the double so far. I think that 2. But he doesn't miss the
Game shot on the
important
fifth
one.
leg. Dan Reid.
He regains the lead. It's 2-0 up in this one, and Lukas Wenig pulled it back. Dan Reid is now 1 leg away from going to 6 points and having
6 leg
4
Lukas to third
players
first. Game on.
6 points.
Just continuing where we left off.
97.
Just see on my Twitter screen here, Mad Max chucking in his
100.
opinion as well for the perfect data. Please do send in yours as well at the Edgar 501. He's gone finishing James Wade on that one, which I'm surprised we didn't go with actually
95.
because he's so well known, isn't he, for his big finishing. He's actually gone throw. This is a new one on me, Chris Dobie.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm a big fan of the
100.
Dobie action.
Gone for sportsmanship. He hadn't gone with Chris Mason.
All right, okay.
He's gone with Steve Beaton.
Yep. Yeah, or John Henderson.
139.
Steve Beaton, yeah. You don't know anybody who doesn't like Steve.
Just like the Michael Van Gerwen mindset as well.
100. Lukas Wenig, 170.
Another one of those. Would have left him the ball. Might still use the ball.
134.
Sometimes players use that to leave the tops or to set up the 65 on the 2 darter. Not Lukas Wenig, he's just aggressive in his pursuit of the trebles.
81.
A
Lukas
double
Wenig,
after 12
36.
to level up the match once again.
Game shot on the 6th leg. Lukas Wenig.
When he looked across and seeing Dan Reid on 120, didn't even consider the switch. That was a 14-dart hold. The winning legs for Lukas here, 15.
Game on.
Well, 17, 15 and 14 the last one. 17, 15 and 21 for Dan Reid.
95.
The averages here identical. As
95
is the doubling. No shock that this one has gone all the way.
$58. $29. $100.
These are the legs where you just know the heart rate will be pumping, which I think I'd love to see that as a little feature, the heart rate monitor on the screen, because they'd be going up a few beats right now.
Yeah, we did do it years ago
95.
in the very early stages of the PDC. There's those ones that, the band that go around your chest.
58.
The Dennis Priestley one where he was wearing it and wasn't even a flicker up or down. No matter what situation, he managed his
89.
mindset and adrenaline very well.
Maybe that would be one for your perfect darter. Dennis Priestley's got to be on the list somewhere
50.
as a characteristic.
Yeah, absolutely. What a player. We have sort of going to that era that sort of young football fans just think that the football started with the Premier League and nobody played before, and it's a bit like darts.
133.
Big visit
Dan
there
Lukas,
from
140.
Lukas Wenig. It's made this 140 of Dan Reid. One of the shots he might have to take. He's on course. He's still on course. Double 10 for a 140 finish for the match.
120. Lukas Wenig, 60.
Super effort. Now I would like to see his heart rate, because it would have gone up after seeing those 2 treble 20s go in. He wants tops. And he gets tops. He pinches it with a 17-dart breaker throw in the last leg after Dan Reid went so close on the 140 checkout himself for the match. But it is 2 from 2 tonight for Lukas Wenig, and you can see the relief. Average is 85.30, Reid 87.16 for Lukas Wenig. All right, when we come back.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Lukas Wenig has put himself in a very good position to make his way into tomorrow night's final, courtesy of that last leg success against Dan Reed. Well, next up for us, it is the battle between Darren Johnson and Reece Colley, and the winner themselves can put themselves in a really good position to get into tomorrow's final. Describing all the action here, here's Chris, here's Matt.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, I think, well, I don't want to go too early, but it would be unlikely for Wenig not to come through this group now, having reached 8 points. But mathematically, anything can happen from here. But one of these two will join him on 8 points. And if it's Reece Colley who gets the win, he will trade places with Wenig because of his superior leg difference. He is on +6, Wenig on +3, but here's Wenig on the 8 points.
First leg, Darren to through first.
I do think that reaction as well from Lukas Wenig at the end of the match was a sign that he thinks he's through as well.
Yeah.
Should make you think whoever can get the win in this one will probably be thinking the same, as everyone would have played 6 with 2 games to go. But the last time we saw Reece Colley on the stage, he nearly gave us perfection. He was 1 dart away from the 9 darter. It ended up being a 10.
Just inside the
85.
double 12, but then stepped back up and slotted in double 6 for the 10 darter, best leg of the week.
100.
He's got some support coming through over on social media. We can see CJ saying, come on the chaos. Starting the hashtags as well. Team Colley, Team Chaos.
Like it. Don't forget 59. To give us a follow on the social medias at MSS Darts, all one word. Just there, as you can see, under the scoring strap on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And we will be getting a 100 on TikTok as well, apparently. Something I don't know anything about. And get your phones ready if you want to join us on a Saturday night.
60.
Give you a little bit of notice.
170.
And get your QR code scanner ready. Here you go. Give that a scan. Come and join us on a
60. Saturday
night. It'd be great to have you here. Even get a chance to get a selfie with Henry. You can contact
137. Daniel Carr,
colleague
110.
Matt Edgar on the old social medias, on Twitter.
Yep, at the Edgar 501 is the tag. Chuck that in, it'll appear on my screen.
Yeah, have you got any questions for us? Or just have a, want to give your favourite player a shout out?
20. Game shot in the first leg, Darren Johnson.
On 20 after 18. A missed dart for Colley. Gives Darren a hold of throw in 19.
Second leg, Reece to throw first. Game on.
First leg that, second leg that Reece Colley has lost tonight.
135.
He's got this pace about him, hasn't he? They can really follow darts. When a dart goes well, like a Michael Smith, really good at
90.
Once it goes in, when Michael Smith gets 2 in, the third dart almost just goes through the air at the same time. He lets them go that quick.
Yeah, FDM's first dart merchants.
140.
Like I said, I've known Reece since he was a young lad, and the throw's been
97.
Always the same. It's not changed.
One of the things that's exciting about tonight,
97.
with everyone coming in on the level points, is the stories that will unfold. Because actually, that next game we've got coming up, Martyn Turner, Dan Reed, which I'll go through with Henry.
140.
Is actually the loser's probably out.
Yeah, elimination game, that one, isn't it? Well, the loser. Yeah, he's
89.
Pretty much done for. response, this, from Reece Colley. Chaos.
94. Reece Colley 40. Game shot in the second leg.
Description
Reece
of my
Colley.
career, that.
Actually got a couple of nicknames as well. I'm not sure he's got on this shirt, but on his other shirt as well, he had
Billy
Poacher
Gallen to throw first.
wrote on
Game
it,
on.
which was a nickname given by his granddad for his footballing days.
Ooh.
58.
Bit of a Lineker.
You're another guy that went by many nicknames as well,
32.
but most of them you're not allowed to put on your shirt.
Good point, well made. I think I've had us. Oh, is that touching? I think so.
83.
James Wade, he's had a few, hasn't he?
009.
Yeah, the Gladiator. Was it the Gladiator?
He was, yeah.
60.
Yeah.
There's been some terrible ones.
The Machine.
The one that really stands out as one of the worst nicknames ever. It's got to be Dream Boy. Or the Crafty Potter.
60.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
$180.
Nothing crafty about that. It was creative. First one of the match takes his average up to 95.
60.
Just starting to turn the screw on Darren Johnson here.
137.
The Coat is my most disappointing nickname.
And he just put on the jacket for the walk on.
Do you think he was Roger Federer or something?
92.
I think it might have actually been Mr. Coat.
I think it was Mr. Coat. Yeah, I think you're right.
52.
Like it's such an unusual thing to have a coat. It's nice enough fella, actually, but
Reece Colley 40.
a terrible nickname. Let us know your worst nicknames. Ones that we
Game
can
shot on the
repeat,
third leg.
preferably.
Reece Colley.
There is actually a website of darting nicknames as well, and you can go through them.
Fourth leg Reece to throw first. Game on.
Some of them repeat quite a lot. I mean, there are some which I'd really like to know the background, a bit of context on.
One
There's
out of them,
I think called Hot
40.
Dog. I'd like to know a bit of context behind that one.
134. $37.
Well, I like the Adrian Lewis one, Jackpot, because of its context. The fact that he
134.
won a jackpot in Vegas, but couldn't collect.
That's, I think, what nicknames really need to be around
140.
stories and backgrounds that have happened. Where some people just pick things out.
Another one I really like.
133.
Alex Roy's the Ace of Hearts, because he was from Hertfordshire, of course.
60. Darren Johnson 100.
Just casting my eye up
60.
to
Reece
tops there.
Colley
He
124.
might have attempted a double-double there with the treble 20, half blocked the way the dart lied. It will
42.
be tops.
Darren Johnson 40.
It's for a level game.
Game
Darren
shot on the
Johnson
fourth
is
leg.
putting
Darren
in a
Johnson.
performance that is his best so far of the week.
Yeah, super leg there from DJ. 13
Fifth
dart
leg
break
Darren
back.
to throw first. Game on.
Brian Raman. This must be lost in translation. Player that we had down at Southampton as well. of course.
140.
Former WDF #1. Glassback.
65.
One that I should have had. Callum Matthews, not a player I'm familiar with. The Money Man. Chris the Money Man Mason. Yeah, I could have got away with that one. Do love a pound note.
You don't get out of bed for at least 500 of them.
100.
Yeah, Clive Barden. You mentioned that one. Hot dog. Oh, that's all about.
80.
Probably just really likes hot dogs.
140. Darren Johnson, 101.
There's the one.
81.
Sets it up nicely. He's Colley back on 196. Non-effective to this leg. We did see at the back end of the last game, he can rattle off
20.
a leg in 0 time, a 10-darter to win the last match. So I'll just keep Darren Johnson on notice.
Game shot on the fifth
He gets
leg.
his
Darren
job
Johnson.
done, puts himself a leg away from joining Lukas Wenig on 8 points.
Very impressive response this from Darren Johnson. Just 28 darts used to win
Six
the
leg
last
Reece
two
to
legs.
first. Game on.
Averaging well into the tons, around about 104 and change in the last couple of legs.
140. 81.
This will sort of be that halfway point of the night. Everyone would have
100.
played 6 matches in total. And still, everybody is in contention.
91.
Do enjoy groups like this when it's all tight and congested. Certainly when you sat
100.
watching them, if you was playing, you would not be enjoying this. Really good
99.
night
Reece
for the
Colley,
neutral.
161.
161, he will get 6 darts here. Take us all the way.
43.
Darren Johnson is trying to apply.
70. Reece Colley, 118.
You get the treble 20 with the first dart and walk away with 70 points. You are mightily disappointed. He's double 19. Double he's hit a few times already
80.
in this group.
Darren Johnson, 160.
Darren Johnson, after getting that treble
23.
20, has made
Reece
a bit of a
Colley,
mess.
38.
That treble 20 scored 14 points in the next 4
Game
darts.
shot on the sixth leg. Reece Colley.
Reece Colley gets a bit of a cushion, gets over the line and takes us all the way to a deciding leg, which will be Darren Johnson with the advantage of throw. But if Reece Colley
Seventh
can
and final leg. Darren to throw first. Game on.
show what he did in the deciding leg last time, there'll be little Darren Johnson can do. A 10-darter.
Had a player playing in this
60.
afternoon's Group C that's had a couple of nicknames. Muzz Lightyear, Ryan Murray, also known as Top Gun.
40.
Maybe used to fly a fighter jet.
90. 56.
Well, this is the complete opposite of last time Reece Colley was in a last leg shootout.
45.
Both players already on 6, so a victory here will give them
60.
real platform to get themselves through to tomorrow night's final.
One out of them, 40. 100. 137.
Both players trying to make a move. But at the moment, it's in the hands of Darren Johnson.
You feel it's his
59.
to lose from here. That's a bit of a disaster. That has opened the door for Reece Colley. Ooh. Oh, 15 is safe.
68. Daniel Carr,
Treble 15's a
107.
bonus.
Darren Johnson has took this out once already. It's tops.
67. Reece Carr, 140.
Sort of feel this has to go. Darren Johnson hasn't been letting opportunities pass him by on the doubles.
Oh, he's 3 from 9, so 3 darts in hand suggests that the tops will
54.
go
Daniel Carr, 40.
with one of the 3.
He's 13 from 27 coming into this match as well. Turnover of just under 50%.
Game shot of the match.
He
Darren
will not
Johnson.
need any more opportunities in this match to wrap that one up. Darren Johnson moves on to 8 points and joins Lukas Wenig, keeping Reece Colley on 6. Coming up next is a game that is potentially must win as they're trying to get to 6 points. Martyn Turner and Dan Reed both on 4, and they're going head to head.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MODUS Super Series. We've reached the halfway stage of our evening's action at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Primetime Matthew Edgar has joined me up here on the balcony to assess what we've seen so far. Let's begin by having a look at the table, because before play got underway this evening, all 5 players were tied on 4 points. We look as if the destinations of certain players look a bit more clearer now at the top end than what we saw earlier on this evening.
Well, it's starting to take a bit of shape now, isn't it? But as much as we think 8 points will be enough, it'd probably only be enough for one of those positions at the moment to be guaranteed. So we'll say there's probably a bit more work to be done. But on the reaction of Lukas Wenig after winning that game, it would make you believe that he thinks that the 8 points would be enough.
Although there's still potentially a scenario, if you actually look at the way the table's plotted, you can actually split that around and it could still end up all 5 on 8.
We could stand here for the next 5 minutes looking over the possibilities of this group and what could be, because we saw it yesterday, didn't we? We had all these different outcomes that they all happened, and we've got an evenly matched group, so we could stand there and make 20 different scenarios, and I think the best thing to do is see how it plays out and just play it through game by game, because this scenario we've got coming up next in terms of the Dan Reed Martyn Turner game is something that is how the fixtures have mapped it out, and we've got 2 players that haven't picked up victories today where the loser essentially is going to be out.
How impressed have you been with Lukas Wenig so far this evening? He came out, fantastic start, and okay, he had to ride his luck a little bit at times against Dan Reed, but he's managed to get over the line in 2 different ways.
I don't think anyone wins anything without riding a bit of fortune at times. There's very rare players dominate fields, and that's why players such as a Phil Taylor or Michael van Gogh and the people we talk about so often has been some of the greatest of all time, because they don't tend to need that little bit of fortune when they go on and win events. Most of the time you're going to face a match start somewhere, or someone's going to have an opportunity against you that they miss. So I think Lukas Wenig has looked really in control tonight.
Next up for us, it is Dan Reed up against Martyn Turner. And it feels like it goes without saying, but we're going to say it anyway. This is a big game for both.
That's what we do, innit? We say the obvious most of the time. And this one, it's mapped out for you. We can see it in the fixture. We can see it in the table. The loser of this game's got 1 fixture left. They're on 4 points. They can only get to 6, where everybody else in the table will be on 6. It is pretty much knockout darts.
Well, they want to get on with it. Shall we let them get on with it?
I want them to get on with it. I think it's going to be a great finale.
Well, we look forward to it. It's the final furlong here in Group B. We're going to find out the final 3 names into tomorrow night's final. John Henderson booked his place on Wednesday afternoon. He was joined this afternoon by Chris Gilliland and Neil Duff. But who is going to complete the field? We're going to find out in the next, say, hour and a half or so in the company of this man and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, chaps. Yeah, this is pretty much elimination darts here for these 2. Mathematically, it would... Well, yeah, some strange old scenarios would have to take place, but whoever loses this one is pretty much done and dusted. These 2, of course, met in last night's opening session of this Group B. It was Martyn Turner who got the better of Dan Reed on that occasion. 4-2. An 88
First leg is Martyn
average,
to
4-9 on the doubles.
Game on.
That was against the darts. This evening's match, he has the honour. In terms of odds, Martyn was 10-11. Dan Reed was 4-5. Very much a pick'em game. However, before the off last night, Dan Reed was a 4-9 favourite.
45.
And Turner was 13-8.
I think they're dismissing the form line, aren't they, of Martyn Turner and what winning a big title like the Isle of Man Open can do for you.
You'll have to draw on all of those positive experiences from here on
73.
in. They have to be pretty perfect from here.
165.
The players have completed 6 of their 8 allocated matches over the course of 2 days of this Group B.
137. Martyn Turner,
So
16.
it's got to be perfect. It could be one off of perfect. Perfection, obviously, the 9 darter. Just checking that's actually in the 8,
Game
not the
shot on the
11,
first
which
leg.
it's not,
Martyn
and
Turner.
affords himself a little fist bump celebration there.
So he should. That was a stunning leg. 180, 140, 165. Just
Second leg
missing
down
the
to
10.
first. Game on.
Going out in 11.
$123.
Dan Reed, from what I've seen of him before and what I know of Dan Reed, has been playing under par tonight.
60.
But now is the time to turn up, because it's not game over yet. He can still get through. So he's still within his own hands. The
95.
time is now. There is no next time. There is no later.
100.
He's out of lives. The same can be said for Martyn Turner.
100.
I said it with Henry, sometimes the graphics which come up on your screen just tell the story.
70.
We don't need words. The table and the fixture list just shows you everything you need in this one.
Final one on the nicknames. Another personal favourite of
83.
mine. Mark Frost. Frosty the Throwman. Hope you're well, pal.
57. Daniel Carr, 100.
Regular practice partner with
76.
Phil and Eric back in the day. Was Frosty.
96. Daniel Carr, 24. Game shot on the second leg. Dan Reed.
2 legs deep. 2 holds of throw. Both will be aware of the
Third leg,
importance
Martyn to throw first. Game on.
of this match, I'm sure.
We said the time was now for Dan Reed, and he pops in a 16 dart
21.
leg. And Martyn Turner just offered a route into this for Dan Reed, who will need to break the throw at some point.
117.
That is a very good step towards that, punishing the 21 of Martyn Turner.
58. 97. 45.
Big leg this one, and he's making a bit of a mess of it here, Martyn Turner. 9 darts, no treble. But not only the no treble, the stray darts off the 20 line, 21, 58,
100.
45. He's front 9, which is normally where the big power scoring's happening.
41.
Made that 12 darts without a treble. He's sending up the stress flares.
58. 140. Daniel Carr, 129.
6 at this for Dan Reed to get a break of throw.
It's one of those weird shots, 129, where you'd never really know what to do. You hit the treble 19, you don't really know what to do on the 72. Do you go
43.
double-double? Do you go back to the 20s? It's one of those really weird ones that you can never really get a happy pattern.
140.
Yeah, and
Daniel
more
Carr,
so when
86.
your opponent's not on a finish. That's when there's more of a dilemma. 777.
72. Martyn Turner 56.
Well, happy. Feeling the pressure is Dan Reed. Back-to-back 140s has got Martyn Turner
36.
right back in the leg, but he
Darren
can't
Johnson
convert.
14.
After those first 4 visits to the board, you would not have expected Martyn Turner to be getting darts at the leg. But
No
he's going to get
score.
another 3.
Martyn Turner 20.
We may reflect on this in 5 minutes or so as the key moment in the match.
15. Darren Johnson 14.
Raise of the eyebrows from Dan Reed. He can't believe he's getting another go. Attacks it this time.
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable in that area of the board, so this might be a benefit switching over to the 2s.
12. Martyn
That's
Turner
just
5.
purely pressure, isn't it?
Well, when I spoke to Henry upstairs, he said about people riding their luck, and I says, you don't tend to
Game shot on the
win
third
things
leg.
without
Martyn
having to
Turner.
face people having opportunities against you. Both these players had opportunities. It's Martyn Turner who doesn't let it pass him
Fourth
by.
leg down to through first. Game on.
I tend to refer to it as good fortune because there's nothing
100.
lucky about hitting a double. You're physically aiming at it, but you can be fortunate when you're given
100.
opportunities you may not have thought would come your way.
When I was doing my coaching badges, one of
100.
the people in our mock exam, when someone had a shot at goal, went unlucky, and they blew the whistle, stopped the session there. He
95.
stepped in and he says, what was unlucky about that? He says, unlucky is a tree breaking, falling down, hitting the ball and deflecting the ball off. He says, actually, what you've got there is a possible coaching
44.
point because they've missed the target. So what was it? Was it poor practice, bad technique? What was it? You should be able to have a coaching point rather than it being unlucky, because there wasn't anything unlucky. The conditions
44.
were fine. And ever since then, I've never used the word unlucky, or I've really, like you say, try and reword it where possible or put more context onto it to really understand what people mean when they use
125.
that term.
Yeah,
56.
it's one of those
Daniel Carr,
first-hand experience
132.
things, isn't it? Like that switch. Single
92.
18 leaves tops. Considering the disappointment he must be feeling after that
60. Daniel
second
Carr,
leg that
40.
Darren Johnson won eventually in 26 darts. Dan Reed spurned so many opportunities.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Darren
He's
Reed.
actually won this one in 17 to keep his hopes alive.
Fifth leg, Martyn to throw first. Game on. $100.
Disappointment in the Masters for the UK participants.
180.
Justin Rose and Shane Lowry, the English representative and an Irish representative, both
100.
8 shots off the pace after the second round.
Elaine is joining us again tonight. She's joining in with the nicknames.
140.
Fan of the Lethal Biscuit, James Wilson.
Jammy Dodger.
Well, and this is
100.
one that might need a little bit of context, or I might be missing something completely obvious. With Christian Kiss the lipstick.
Kiss, maybe.
44.
We throw it, refer to the treble 20 as the lipstick, maybe.
42. Daniel Carr, 137.
Sometimes people don't put enough effort in, but I think on that one, that might be one that's trying too hard.
43.
Yeah, I think both of these have tried too hard at times.
99. Daniel Kahn, 94.
It's the doubles that let Dan Reid down, which statistically is his strong point, but he thinks it's his weakness. Maybe what we're seeing is it's his weakness when he relies on it.
Yeah, or psychologically,
Shot on the fifth
he
leg.
believes it's his weakness, and well, you convince yourself in the end, don't you?
There's no problem there. That was certainly a good, strong finish. 94, confident, treble,
Six leg
double,
down to
2
throw
darts.
first. Game on.
Smooth, clean. Out, and now he's looking to get the points on the board, keep himself in the running.
140.
Well, it would give us our first marker pens player, which would be Martyn Turner.
85.
Lukas Wenig will take on Darren Johnson in the next one, and that will give us our first highlighted player, which will be our first mathematically guaranteed player to go through.
Yep, winner of that
96.
one. Guaranteed to be in tomorrow night's final.
180.
Martyn Turner swinging. He's got plenty more to offer. He's not going down without a fight.
No. Got helicopter. Another 19 leaves 170.
95.
Well, whichever way you go.
58.
Gonna need a trouble.
Daniel Kahn, 170.
Darren Johnson won a game on a 170. Dan Reid could join the club.
105. 100. Daniel Kahn, 65.
By Darren Johnson. Game against the players he's facing next in our next match.
25. Martyn Turner, 78.
Martyn Turner survives a match dart. He will get a dart at tops himself to keep this one alive.
Game shot on the sixth leg. Martyn Turner.
Just like the 94, a huge shot in the context of this match and the context of this group, which is context of the entire week for these players.
Seventh and final leg, Martyn to throw first. Game on.
80 in the leg, a 78 finish, and a 15 darter.
100.
Keep his hopes alive. One match dart for this man.
140.
The difference between him making tomorrow night's final.
36.
The long drive home.
$42.
Big first start. I like the way that's live.
140.
Just sticks his nose in front as they're approaching the finishing line.
55.
Here's the opportunity to give himself a little bit of daylight. Give himself a bit of breathing room. Again, big first start.
140.
Back-to-back 140s on the back of that 36. Said he's not going down without a fight.
81.
He might not be going down at
Martyn
all.
Turner, 85.
The fight might be big enough in Martyn Turner. Doesn't need to go 16 and bull. Just set
45.
this up, and he chooses to leave himself on tops once again.
$140. Martyn Turner, 40. Game shot on the match, Martyn
Tops
Turner.
comes to the rescue for Martyn Turner. He saved the match on tops with that 78. He wins the match on tops, and he keeps his hopes alive of qualifying through Group B and getting through to tomorrow night's finals. For Dan Reed, that is pretty much all she wrote. He will be back later on against Darren Johnson, who is coming up next in a top-of-the-table clash when he takes on Lukas Wenig.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we have just seen yet another last leg decider, this time won by Martyn Turner. Well, next up for us is the meeting between Darren Johnson and Lukas Wenig. Describing this one in the commentary box, here's Matthew Edgar and Chris Mason.
Top of the table clash. We had a at the bottom of the table where the loser was pretty much eliminated. This is one at the top of the table where the winner is through and will join our Group A winner, John Henderson, our Group C winner, Neil Duff, and Chris Gilliland, which already is looking like quite the finals night. Who will be joining them? We have 3 players that will be coming through this group. Lukas Wenig and Darren Johnson. As I was coming through the practice room was discussing with Reece Colley the possibilities of the league table, and they was saying that Lukas Wenig and Darren Johnson are
First
through.
leg is Darren to throw first.
But that
Game on.
might not be the case.
Well, one of them is guaranteed to be through, and that's whoever wins this tie. And contemplating who will be here tomorrow night. Will you be here tomorrow night?
60.
Get your phones ready. Scan this QR code. There you go. All the details are on there, how you can join us, not just this Saturday night, but any Saturday night
82.
in the future. Loving my new buttons. Look at me go.
That could be another interesting topic for our social media this evening. What
57.
buttons could we add?
Yeah, what would you like to see on the screen?
I would like a tumbleweed.
Yep, I agree for either a moment in here
77.
of where one of us is trying to be humorous but fails miserably, or where we see a leg with multiple
57.
missed doubles.
We could get one of those ha-ha graphics on for when Henry appears in that shirt.
Yeah, laughing hyena.
140.
We could have a dancing avocado.
I think that one's already been done.
66.
If you're still looking for some darting content, definitely give Edgar TV a look on YouTube. Some fascinating topics
105.
getting discussed and analysed, and you dig a little deeper, don't you?
I give the answers to the
100.
questions people didn't
Lucas
realise they had
Wenig,
questions
97.
to, but when you hear the answers, you realise I was interested in that answer.
I'll pretend to know what you meant. That was
77.
a tumbleweed
Darren
moment right there.
161. 56. Lucas Wenig, 20.
To break the throw in the opening leg.
Game shot on the first leg. Lukas Wenig.
Lukas Wenig said sometimes with a player that's shown glimpses like Lukas Wenig has, that
Second leg, Lucas to
you
throw
can
first.
quite often
Game
expect too much from them, and I think that's what we did yesterday, because a 90.04 average is a good standard across 4 matches, and we were sat there thinking maybe he's not
135.
played his best, and we might be judging him by a level that's proper elitist.
Yeah, well,
83.
the expectation is there for a reason, and that's a compliment of how high or how highly we rate him.
137.
He's making his move. He wants this wrapped up and done.
Well, the thing is,
100.
if he feels personally like he's done enough, then he'd be playing with freedom, wouldn't he?
180.
What a leg of darts. 135, 137, 180. Good luck trying to break that.
Yeah.
134.
7
Lucas
of
Wenig,
the
49.
9 darts finding a big trouble.
$17. $140. Lucas Wenig, 32.
He's moved to the right to get around the first one. He's come back to his original
Game
lofty
shot on the
position.
second leg. Lukas
because he
Wenig.
gets a new segment going slightly up to the double 8 and gets over the line in the end. But he did go left and right on that line
Third leg
first.
Darren to throw first. Game on. $42. 100. 30.
This was around the time of night last night that Darren Johnson's performance did start to dip a little bit.
85.
Yes. Usually when we watch the players
99.
complete over the Group A and either one of Group B or Group C, we can take a more
82.
analytical look at that. Very much like Sedlak in his final match of the day, we quickly noticed that
55.
he'd not won one of his previous 4 final matches of his day.
It's very relevant to what time of day you play, after how many games.
85.
Obviously the practice and preparation, everything that goes into it beforehand, that there is going to be a point where the performance or the concentration levels are going to start to wilt.
Yeah. Physical and mental
87.
fatigue will
Lukas Wenig,
certainly play its
149.
part. We certainly noticed from Lukas Wenig that
60.
as the days went on in Group A, the shoulder got more and more involved, and
45. Lukas Wenig, 89.
again, that's fatigue. Quite a lot of shoulder in the action. He does have quite ample shoulders, as you can see.
Game shot in the third leg. Lukas Wenig.
Finishing here, 3 from 7, averaging 92.
Fourth leg, Lukas to throw first. Game on.
Lats and traps getting a little tight.
He's not happy with how those ones have come out the
93.
hand, but he recovers it well. He won't be rushed, really, Lukas Wenig. If he's not happy or settled with how it's going, he will take a little bit of a pause.
100. 58.
See on Lucas's Instagram page, he's got himself down. It's not just a dart player,
96.
but also an athlete.
$100. 47.
About Darren Johnson not being mathematically through. This result, if Lukas Wenig ends it here, this could be a bit of a problem for Darren Johnson, because leg difference could come into play and
100.
take a 4-0 defeat. He could end up getting himself drawn back into battle.
98. Lukas Wenig, 150.
Well, yeah,
42.
because
Darren
he
Johnson,
gets
160.
beaten 4-0, gone to -4 and put himself in potentially a spot of bother.
140. Lukas Wenig, 108.
Yes, for the match. Going to try and find a way through here. The only other option there would have been the treble 13 for the bull.
56.
At the
Darren
moment,
Johnson,
Reece
20.
Colley's probably in the best position because he's got actually 2
Game
games
shot
in
on the
hand.
fourth leg. Darren Johnson.
Darren Johnson avoids the bagel and avoids defeat.
Well, Reece Colley's got the
This
dream
leg, Darren,
position,
you through
really, because
first.
his game's
Game on.
up next, where he takes on Martyn Turner. if he is to win that, that will close everything up. Because Dan Reed won't be able to catch and Martyn Turner won't be able to catch. So Reece Colley could seal who the top three are.
Yes, absolutely.
Martyn Turner was to win that.
134.
That's where Darren Johnson could get drawn into this, because then Reece Colley's still got an extra game on top.
And if
125.
Turner wins big, he'll be in a superior leg difference to Darren Johnson.
32.
Beauty of these groups. So many different scenarios.
85. $45.
It wasn't that long ago that we was talking about Lukas Wenig running away with this 4-0 quite comfortably. All of a sudden,
95.
he's starting to struggle, and Darren Johnson's starting to find.
And this is something we've seen plenty of from Lukas Wenig over the course of 5 days.
57. Darren Johnson, 96.
Yeah, no need to risk the
56.
double-double, not when your opponent's back on 2-3-3. Just doing a little bit of research earlier, looking at the career of
43.
John
Darren Johnson,
Henderson.
40.
Of course, we know won the World Cup alongside
Game shot on the fifth
Peter
leg.
Wright, as Darren Johnson does close the gap to just one. Also a winner of the Belgium Open, German Open, Granite City, Hull, Scottish Masters.
Six leg Lukas to throw first. Game on.
And the most prestigious one on that list for me outside of the World Cup, the British Open back in 2008. Real historical event in world
133.
darts.
And Lukas Wenig, I said he looked like he was struggling a little bit, completely abandoned the opportunity there
56.
on the 20s, started downstairs on the 19s.
Well, I don't mind that because it's proactive.
58.
No point continuing to throw at the 60s if you're not comfortable.
58.
Does have a little gap in this one. 70 points, comes back upstairs because the breakdown much better. And you see him say, yep.
85.
And a nod of, that's what I kind of expected from throwing at the 20s. The drift into the 5.
95.
He's becoming quite animated.
Don't mind the start down here on
133.
225. He's had some success. For the second time in this leg, he's hit 719s.
95. Lukas Johnson, 92.
So 6 darts in his hand. This for the match to confirm his place in Saturday night's final.
60.
Gonna have to wait a little longer.
$59. Lukas
Marginally
Johnson,
the
32.
better player of the two here. 3 in hand. Don't expect him
Game
to make
shot
a
of the
mess of
match,
it.
Lukas Wenig.
And he doesn't. Lukas Wenig moves on to 10 points. And that has guaranteed his place in tomorrow night's final. Well, the matches come thick and fast, and another real important game coming up next as Reece Colley takes on Martyn Turner.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Lukas Wenig has got the better Darren Johnson by 4 legs to 2. That moves him on to 10 points and moves him into Saturday night's final. Well, next up for us, it's Reece Colley up against Martyn Turner, and we're going to enjoy this one in the company of Matthew Edgar and Chris Mason.
Thank you, Henry. 3 more matches to bring you. This is a big one. A win here for Reece Colley. He will ensure his place in tomorrow night's final. A win for Martyn Turner, and it keeps his hopes alive. But he would have to rely on other results going his way.
It's not just Reece Colley who would benefit from the win from Reece Colley, it's also Darren Johnson.
Yes.
Reece Colley takes himself and Darren Johnson through with a
First
victory
leg is
here.
Reece
So
through first.
almost a bit like a
Game
tag
on.
team match.
But of course, Darren Johnson will be wanting his great pal Martyn Turner to win, of course.
125.
Maybe.
97.
This was one of our early matches yesterday that Reece Colley
59.
won against Martyn Turner. 4-2. It was a high-scoring game. 3 180s from Martyn
86.
Turner, a 177 and a 180 from Reece Colley. When they met last night, nothing between them in terms
125.
of the odds, and exactly the same tonight. 5-6, each of 2.
95. 100. 70. Reach your car 92. 76.
Horrible
Martin
deflection
Car
there.
153.
Skewed the dart into the big 16, but he'll be back for double 8 for a hold.
99. Reach your car 16. Game shot on the
Step
first
one,
leg. Reece Colley.
Complete for Reece Colley.
Quarter of the way there.
That will pique the interest of
Second leg,
Darren
Marty
Johnson.
through first. Game on.
It is a double whammy game. This is Martyn Turner's last fixture. Even if he is to win this, it doesn't mean that
45.
he's going to be going through. He still need other things to go his way. Most notably, would need to see Reece
41.
Colley get beat by Lukas Wenig.
We know 4 of our 6 for tomorrow night's
55.
final. John Henderson, winner of Group A. Neil Duff, the winner of Group C. And the runner-up, Chris Gilliland.
140.
Lukas Wenig. Still got 2 to find.
121.
In fact, if Martyn Turner is to win this game, he's in a much stronger position than I thought he was. Because he will go
58.
above Reece Colley on points. A win would also see him at least join Darren Johnson on leg difference.
81.
So he could potentially go into second place. A 4-2 result would guarantee him second place. And then we've got 2 chances there to
45.
need just 1 result to see him through. He's in a much better position than maybe he even realises he is.
134.
Ultimately, first priority is to get the win.
100. Martin Car 65.
Just confirming with our referee, Paul Hinks, that it is in the 25.
Game shot on the second leg. Martyn Turner.
2 holds, 1 apiece.
Good solid
Third
leg
leg,
of
Reece
darts
to
as
throw
well there
first. Game
from Martyn Turner, which will just be sending a few chills down the
59.
spines of hashtag Team Chaos, who have been in touch earlier on today, supporting their man.
57. 137. 85. 97.
Colley, of course, a little earlier. Oh, so close to giving us
55.
another 9 darter here at the Super Series. There'll be no 3rd under this, in this new venue.
180.
He'd have been the 2nd player to have done it. First 2 hit by the same man.
180. Reece Colley, 28. Game
like
shot on the
that.
3rd leg. Reece
Took a
Colley.
step back, didn't rush the situation, reassessed. A little move to the right to change the angle of entry.
4th leg, Martyn to
And
throw first. Game
A
on.
double 7 for a 15 dart hold.
Both of them hitting a 180 in that leg. Both
60.
taking their tallies into double figures. Now both players 10 180s each, which is impressive when you think about the amount of fixtures that they've played.
140.
Reece Colley even more so, because Martyn Turner's had a game extra.
96.
When we look at this afternoon's 180 counts, we've got Chris Wickenden, who had 6,
97.
Ryan Murray at 8, and that's with 10 matches. Chris Gilliland, who was dominating that group, hit 11.
125.
1
away from that.
Reece Colley, of course, has a further game to play. Our final match of the session.
41. 50.
Good thinking there from Martyn Turner to utilise the ball to leave himself a shot.
83.
Again, that
Martyn Turner,
rotation of the wrist.
170.
I think he has to watch the habit he wants to remove.
41. Reece Colley, 140.
Spider-Man, and it's perfect explanation.
30. Martyn Turner,
He'd
129.
have done anything to have left the board with 100 points in that situation. Martyn Turner could dig himself out of this one, and there
97.
it is again. Every time they
Reece
miss the ball, they
Colley,
leave themselves
110.
a nice handy finish.
He decided to lay up.
Martyn Turner peering over the shoulder of Reece Colley. He won't like what he's seen so far.
Game
And
shot
he
on the 4th
certainly
leg. Reece
will
Colley.
not like what he's seeing or hearing as Reece Colley hits his first ton plus checkout of the group. But what a time to do so.
5th leg. Reece to throw first. Game on.
Martyn Turner, the MT on his back. He's actually that's his nickname, isn't it? The Mutts Nuts.
100.
When you talk about nicknames and where they come from, there's a questionable one on itself, isn't it? The Mutts Nuts.
57. 140. 100.
Reece Colley is making his move. Darren Johnson
140.
will be cracking out the party poppers.
$78. Reece Colley 121. 57.
64 points away from completing the lineup.
95.
For
Reece
tomorrow
Colley
night's
64.
week 9. The series is flying by. Double 8.
$48.
No finish, though, for Martyn Turner. So Reece Colley will get another opportunity to move himself and Darren Johnson and complete
121.
tomorrow
Reece
night's
Colley
lineup.
16. Game shot on the match, Reece Colley.
And Reece Colley gets it done. Commiserations for Martyn Turner. Always a pleasure to have Martyn down here at the Super Series. Nice touch there from Reece Colley, ending with an 87.37 average. Highlight for him, the timing of it at 1:10 checkout. When we come back, Dan Reed against Darren Johnson.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where a 4-1 success there for Reece Colley against Martyn Turner now sets in stone our field when it comes to tomorrow night's final. Lukas Wenig, Reece Colley and Darren Johnson all into tomorrow night's finale, which will be live with us here on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel from 7:30 before going live with you on Sporty Stuff TV from 10. So 2 more matches left for us here. It sees Dan Reed in action against Darren Johnson before Lukas Wenig takes on Reece Colley to round the group off. So to Reed versus Johnson first, and in the commentary box it's Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry. Yep, all the action available live and exclusive on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel from 7:30. And our viewers on Sporty Stuff TV will join us at 10 o'clock for the semi-finals and finals, so you will not miss a dart. End of the road for Dan Reed. Just playing for pride. I always think these opportunities matter. A good time to try things that you've maybe been working on that you wouldn't want to risk in a real live game. In terms of live as in table position.
First leg, Dan to throw first. Game on.
Might be a really good opportunity for you to...
Or try new darts or anything like that, really.
Well, he's
45.
tried new darts for most this week so far, hasn't he? He's using these with his new grip pattern on them.
100.
We will no doubt see plenty more of Dan Reed here at the Super Series. He's become a bit of a Super Series regular now, hasn't he, Dan Reed?
59.
All the players throughout a series. This is Series 3 right now. You'll get to
55.
play either 1 week or a Group C or Group B. But no
60.
player is allowed to play 2 complete weeks in one series. Obviously now that a lot of the restrictions
60.
that prevented us from having a massive pool of players has now been lifted. We are introducing more new players as the weeks go by.
180.
Couple of new players in action next week.
Couple of real eye-catching new players as well.
Yeah, sure is.
180.
Super excited about
Dan
next
Lukas,
week's lineup.
157.
I think you will be. Will you be revealing
97. Darren
next week's lineup on the balcony with Henry at the end of tonight's action?
I believe it's tomorrow.
49. Dan Lukas, 60. Game shot on the first leg. Dan Reed.
Good clean finish there from Dan Reed. Had a couple of games where he's been perfect. He had one of those
Second leg, Dan Reed to throw first.
just this
Game
week, his opening game. He was 4 from 4. He had a 4 from 6 as well yesterday. So there's plenty of...
44.
Not bad for a bloke who thinks he's a terrible finisher.
Exactly. And I think maybe hearing those stats might just give him a little bit more confidence on that. 21 darts on a double
100.
yesterday, 12 hit. That's mightily impressive.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It'd be impressive if it was over the course of one match against the same opponent, but over the course of 4 games against 4 different players is very good.
140.
Darren Johnson's not really been treating us to too many 180s across his campaign. He's only hit 4. Well, he's hit 2 in this match.
100. $57.
We've had 3 in this match and it's only 2 legs old. Dan Reed will be hoping to make it a fourth to leave double 12.
38. $100. Daniel Carr, 139. 59. Daniel Carr, 104.
And Reed, the only player who hasn't managed to register a finish over 100.
64. Daniel Carr, 80.
Thought you were going to be right on cue. Not for the first time.
60. Daniel Carr, 40.
Top cent for 2 zip.
Game shot on the second leg. Dan Reed.
2 from 3 on the doubles and 2-0 up.
There is a slight perk for Dan Reed if he is to win this game.
Third
And
leg
that is he
down to
won't
throw
finish
first.
bottom of the
Game on.
group, which is something no player ever really wants to do. And to be fair to Dan Reed, I've seen players go through on 6 points before.
119.
If Dan Reed is to win this game, the player who finishes bottom will finish bottom on 6.
43. 59. 42.
Is an intriguing lineup. Or just joining us. You're just getting home from an enjoyable
96.
night at your local hostelry. Tomorrow night's final will be John Henderson, Chris Gilliland, Neil Duff,
43.
Reece Colley, Lukas Wenig and Darren Johnson. Will be split into 2 groups of 3 and they will play each other once
85.
and the top 2 from each group will progress to the semi-finals. Winner taking away £5,000.
100. Daniel
And a
Carr,
place in Champions Week.
142. 86.
This man here has given us the highest finish of the week.
57. Daniel Carr,
170.
56.
Seen 10 darters. Seen Reece Colley miss double 12 for a 9.
51.
I think that's what makes tomorrow quite interesting as well. All those ingredients that we've got with Chris Gilliland, those 2 averages in the 104 as well.
81.
Everyone's
Daniel
got a
Carr,
stat
5.
or something that we can say has been impressive.
Yeah, we've seen back-to-back big
Game shot on
averages
the
from
third leg. Dan Reed.
Lukas Wenig. Seen John Henderson just be absolutely rock solid in
Fourth leg. Darren to
Group
throw
A,
first.
with even
Game
12 of the 15 matches played, just dropping 1 match on each of the 3 days. I was impressed with Neil Duff today.
100.
Did all the right things at all the right times. All the right things in all the right places.
Yeah, and like I say, each
100.
player has give us an indication of why they could be the one to walk away with the £5,000.
100.
Dan Reed will probably be kicking himself a little bit, thinking, where was
140.
this 25 minutes ago when I really needed it in that match with Martyn Turner?
100.
When you look at some of the games he been on the wrong end of, averaged mid-80s in a 4-2 defeat yesterday to Martyn
55.
Turner.
88.
Just got out of the gate really slow tonight, didn't he? Went down to Reece Colley 4-1 and averaged
55. Daniel Carr,
71, which is
130.
very unlike him. And then 4-3 defeat to Lukas Wenig, and ultimately looking like one of those matches.
81. Daniel Carr, 151.
Cost him dear.
He just didn't have that scoring power. Only 7 darts at a double in those first 2 matches.
131.
Need to be creating
Daniel
a few more
Carr, 32.
opportunities than that. Although out of those 7 darts at a double, he did hit 4 of them.
When he created the opportunities, he found the
16.
target. And can he find
Daniel Carr, 20.
double 10 to sign off with an impressive 4-0 win against Darren Johnson, who was qualified.
No score. Daniel Carr, 16. No score.
He returns
Daniel
the favour.
Carr, 20.
The busted double.
Reed, a busted flush. Can he use that one?
Game shot
sure
and the
can.
match. Dan Reed.
And Dan Reed does sign off with a very tidy 4-0 win. The average came down from the late 80s with multiple mistarts at a double there. Ended up with 4 out of 11. He does sign off with a win. And coming up next, our final match of Group B. And it will be Lukas Wenig against Reece Colley.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Dan Reed won the battle, but he didn't quite win the war. He got the better of Darren Johnson by 4 legs to 0, rounding off his campaign here at the Live Lounge with a win. Well, our next game sees 2 players we're going to see tomorrow night in the final, in Lukas Wenig up against Reece Colley. And remember, you can be a part of it as well. Dartshot.tv, the place to go to get your tickets. Let's head over to the commentary box then for our final game of the evening. Here's Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry. Well, we were talking about 9 darters, and well, Josh Richardson was on the end of a 9 in a deciding leg against his father, wasn't he? So we've had a match 1 with a 9, and I bring up Josh Richardson because he won the Cressex Easter Open today. A big field of players. Congratulations to Josh. No doubt we'll be seeing him return to the Super Series at some point over the coming weeks and months.
Proper parenting there, isn't it?
First leg is Lukas to throw first.
Beating him with a 9 darter.
Game on.
Don't give him anything.
Competitive dad.
I get it. I was exactly the same with my son. If I played air hockey, I wanted to win 7-0.
Yeah, a little bit unfair when he's 2.
60.
Yeah, well, they've got to learn.
180.
I'm not a fan of the participation medal.
No, no, absolutely not. That culture we have now.
96. 76.
Steve devalues it for everybody, doesn't it? Associates a bit of guilt with the person who gets one that didn't deserve one, and it devalues the person who actually got it, who doesn't want it, because everyone got one.
Well, it makes you think you don't have to work as hard.
$140.
You get the same of someone who has vision, drive, determination, and dedication. You get the same.
Reece
They're not even bothering, just turning up.
Game shot on the first leg. Reece Colley.
Some start to the match. Colley popping in. 12 dart breaker throw. 180, 76, 140.
Second leg Reece to throw first.
Out on 105. Someone we've really talked about in terms of
140.
winning this tomorrow night, but for me, it certainly wouldn't be a shock if he can put it all together in one session.
60.
With a spell of a few hours. Could be the man to beat.
There is something we haven't actually discussed yet. If Reece Colley wins this match here against Lukas Wenig, he wins the group.
100.
Yeah.
And that was
Your
9-1.
Yesterday.
The biggest outsider.
Yeah, we both picked him. We both spoke about him at the opening match of the show. You picked him out with Henry up on the balcony. Just said he was just too big for a player of this ability, and
91.
in a field of this type, he'll be the one to come through. If he gets a win here against Lukas, that will be the case.
80. Reece Colley, 170.
The way Reece Colley is playing, it is the most likely result. He's looking unstoppable at the moment. He's playing fantastic stuff at the start of this one.
He's had some big averages as well previously in the Super Series.
$48. Lukas Wenig, 139.
Trouble 19 will be the first dart. That's missed, so Colley will be back.
99. Reece Colley,
double 12. Average well over the 100 mark.
Second leg. Reece Colley.
Halfway point here for Reece Colley. Halfway towards winning the Group B table. And We saw this yesterday with Lukas
Third leg,
Wenig
Lukas
towards the
to throw
back end of
first.
the day,
Game
where
on.
it's going a little bit tight. I mean, he is carrying a lot of baggage.
97.
Next time I train with my bodybuilder pal, I'll remind him of that. You're carrying a lot of baggage there, pal.
30.
Just 20 years of hard graft and half a ton of protein and creatine. But yeah,
140.
it's something I've thought about. I wonder if there is a build-up of lactic acid in the
85.
shoulder and in the arm. They judge a book by its cover, but I've had a look on his Instagram page. He is an absolute unit. Got
60.
arms as thick as my quads.
You'll see he's built upside down. He's got legs for arms.
59.
Probably walk on his hands, no problem at all.
That's
60.
the real skill, the control of weight. We always used to talk back in our gym about different animals that people wanted to be,
100.
and
Lukas Wenig,
all the newbies
144.
would come in and they'd want to be lions. And well, actually, the best thing to be is a monkey. What's got such control over itself, like a monkey has, the way it just effortlessly can swing through the trees.
120.
You look at some of the. Well, look at Anthony Joshua. I mean, he's
100.
an absolute
Lukas Wenig,
specimen
24.
of a human being, but not particularly
Game shot on the third leg.
functional in
Lukas Wenig.
terms of being a boxer. And then you look at someone like Tyson Fury, who can sort of pre on his toes and has a much higher output for 12 rounds, but ultimately,
Reece to throw first. Game
look
on.
at Muhammad Ali, great body, but not overly developed. It was functional.
45.
Lennox Lewis, another one. Another huge man, but very athletic.
$180.
Would be interesting to pick the brain of Lukas Wenig to see how he actually
91.
changes his training when he knows he's coming into something like this, because he certainly won't want to be doing any sort of heavy lifting or heavy sets coming into this.
53.
It looks, from looking at his stories, it looked like he was quite a
59.
substantial chap and used it to tone up and lose weight and get fit, and then it'd be maybe one of those fortunately genetically gifted people.
24.
It's all turned to muscle.
One of
171.
those genetically ungifted people that all I've got to do is lick a lollipop and I start piling the weight on.
Yeah, I'm saying. Well, there was a picture today from 10 years ago.
94.
At a tournament with Mark Walsh.
Reece Colley, 135.
Cash GUA. I was around £250 then.
83. Lukas Wenig, 150.
Was that the salary for getting you to turn up, was it?
I think that's about pretty much what we won in the tournament.
51.
Mac
Reece
Elkins
Colley,
somehow
52.
got me involved. It was a great day out though.
32. Lukas Wenig, 99.
Below a ton, but it's a 3-dart finish, of course.
The ice cream.
67. Reece Colley, 20. No score. Lukas Wenig, 32.
Not for the first time, right in the corner.
Dan Reed did that in our very last game. The exact same shot. 10 and then
Game shot on the fourth
squeeze one
leg.
inside
Lukas
the double
Wenig.
12. But we was talking about Reece Colley potentially winning this group. When he was 2-0 up, averaging 108. He's now dropped down to an
This leg,
87.
Lukas to throw first. Game
Lukas
on.
Wenig has now just gone back to be the favourite.
The sun's out. I wonder if we get an ice cream van go past
123.
the house. Do fancy a Mr. Whippy. There's nothing quite like a 99.
45.
That'd be something I never thought I'd see in my life. Chris Mason standing at an ice cream van.
96.
And I'd probably send the runner or the assistant.
140. $46.
Certain things, assumptions you make with people, and you could make them with the team here at the MODUS Super Series. Like you wouldn't
58.
expect to ever see Paul Nicholson at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
No. He's quite the foodie, isn't he?
It's a bit of fine dining. He won't want something that's been sat in a tray for 2
59.
hours.
Actually, a very fine chef. He cooks in a
100.
restaurant with a pal of his. Is actually a Michelin star chef and restaurant. Savagely sends me pictures of it just to tease me.
137. Reece Colley, 158.
Another one of those. Oh, he just missed.
100. Lukas Wenig, 40.
As well as we've seen Lukas play
Being shot on the fifth leg. Lukas
in a
Wenig.
final match of the session over the course of the week. Had to come through some adversity here. Reece Colley was
Six leg Reece to throw
unplayable early
first. Game
doors.
on.
Yeah, raced up into lead, but he's just neatly tailed off towards the back end of this
60.
one. His job done, though. He is through to Saturday. Much as he would like to win the group. I've got another assumption for you. That Henry Deacon's never been on the naughty step.
42.
No. Absolutely no chance of that.
100.
See how much it means to both players to try and win this Group B. Great to see. We talk about the integrity
59.
of our wonderful sport, and you're seeing an example of it here.
95.
Players safely through. Lineup is complete. Anderson, Neil Duff, Chris Gilliland,
140.
these two and Darren Johnson are our 6 for tomorrow night's final. Forget, if you want to join us, we're down in
100.
Portsmouth on London Road, the MODUS Live Lounge. Reserve your ticket, which you have to do. There is the QR code. Give that a scan. All the details are on there of how you can join us
60.
every Saturday
Reece
night.
Colley, 146.
Doors open at 6:30. Great to have you all along.
$80.
Chose to go really aggressive there. The 19 was the play because he's now going to have to hit a treble to get 2 at a double.
140. Reece Colley, 66.
It's 21. He'll be going up here. Double 8.
Game shot on the sixth leg. Reece Colley.
And gets the job done. Only is our players suffering with a bit of fatigue.
Some of the
I
final
think
leg. Lukas to throw first. Game
our
on.
spotter must be.
100. 100.
Trading tons in the deciding leg of the match. Remember, the winner of this one will win Group B.
$140. 60.
80 in front, plus these.
100.
Good thinking there, going for the ball on dart 2.
97. Lukas Wenig, 161.
6 darts to get it done. Got the win, 4-3.
54. 84. Lukas Wenig, 107.
50 left. 10 for tops.
87. Reece Colley, 160. 84. Lukas Wenig, 20.
Colley.
No score. Reece Colley,
Another
76.
opportunity. I'm sure he didn't think he was going to get. Got 1 dart at tops.
Game shot.
And
of the
that's
match,
all
Reece
he
Colley.
needs. And it is Reece Colley who does top Group B. Managed to find a way to win that one after multiple match darts for the German were squandered. 4 out of 9 on the doubles for Reece Colley. 3 out of 9 for Lukas Wenig. Well, let's have a quick recap with the boys on the balcony.
Chris, thank you very much indeed. Matthew Redger alongside me up here to discuss what we have seen this evening. Let's begin by having a look at the league table then in the end, because Colley and Wenig, well, they did what they needed to do tonight. They would have known they would have needed to have got off to fast starts. That's exactly what they did.
Well, we say we know what they needed to do. Actually, I think throughout the night they didn't really know anything. I went through the players' practice area a couple of times tonight, and at all times they're trying to work it out. People thought they was through when they wasn't. And when you look at that group table, what a tough thing to try and decipher when you look at 2 players reaching 6 points and they're joint bottom of the table. We've seen people go through with 6 points before, so Dan Reed and Martyn Turner can probably feel a little bit hard done by to reach that and to be, well, nowhere near the qualification.
As for Darren Johnson, it seems that the last few times he's here, he's finding his way through to Saturday night.
And that's all you've got to do, isn't it? The main thing is get through to Saturday. It's where you guarantee a little bit of extra prize money, a few more pounds in the pocket, but you've also got that opportunity at getting that £5,000 prize. And obviously the place in Champions Week, which our eyes are starting to move towards now as we're coming into the finale of Week 9.
Let's talk about Reece Colley then in a little bit more detail, because he came ever so close to Trina's 2 and 9.
You end up with a 10, and that was a very important match actually as well in the context of the group and how it's all played out and at the timing of when that came. So to win the match with that sort of leg just shows a lot of quality. And I said yesterday when I was up here with Abby that I felt like Reece Colley's a player who's got quality, was a little bit lost at the moment, and that's the sort of thing that will really get him back on track.
So let's see how that leaves tomorrow night's proceedings then, because this is how the finalists then shape up. We now know the full 6. And already really jumping off the pages at Group 1, John Henderson, Chris Gilliland, Lukas Wenig. Good luck deciphering that.
I mean, with the 6 players we've got, we're always going to have 2 tough groups, but without a doubt, Group 1 is by far the worst. It's a very tricky group. We've got Chris Gilliland, who's been amazing over the last couple of days in Group C. John Henderson, who obviously won Group A, and Lukas Wenig that we've seen go through this group. And Is there a weakness in there? No. This is going to come down to who wins the battle of quality, where normally you can just try and pick on a few bones of the weakness on the frailties of certain players. There's none in that group.
And in the case of Lukas and John, that's two Euro Tour players going toe-to-toe on that stage.
It's going to be one of those groups like this one. Is there going to be a 9-dart shootout possibility in there? Absolutely. Group 2, I think that's one of those groups where we could look at and say we've potentially got a few signs of frailties in there, and we can maybe have a look at those to see how they develop. But it's a battle of quality. That's really one I'm looking forward to in that top group.
So that is how tomorrow night looks. Let's have a little bit of a look ahead to next week now then, shall we? We have promised you all night that we're going to give you the players for week 10 of the process, and here they are on your screen, as if by magic they're on your screen now, and good luck trying to pick that one next week.
Well, there's a few good looks there. One is good luck trying to get a word in on Group B, because Richard North's in there. He'll be talking his way through that. Alex Spellman, someone I'm actually really looking forward to seeing, joining us from America, I believe. And he's been doing very well on the PDC in terms of the Q School. Came very close to getting his tour card as well. But for me, the whole week is about one man, Luke Littler.
I thought you were going to say that. Elsewhere in amongst there, Alexander Merckx, who we saw at Champions Week last summer, as did Adam Mould. That's a field full of players who know their way through this competition.
It's a field of new players and experience, which is one of the things I'm really enjoying at the moment about the Super Series and in its new format of these 12-week cycles, because we're getting to see a lot of new faces and new talent that we haven't seen before, while still getting to see those players that are proven and established at this level and beyond.
Right then, before we leave you tonight, let's have a little bit more of a preview of tomorrow evening's action. Neil Duff is a player who's come very close to winning a weekly title here. Will he feel as if the next step is now to get over the line and pick up that check?
He should be doing these sort of things. He should be winning these sort of events when you look at the fact that he's got that WDF World Championship. And I think that weighs heavy on him. I talked about it a lot over the afternoon sessions, that I think it weighs a little bit heavy of that weight of expectation and what people think is the expected attributes and the expected achievement levels of someone who's carrying that title. And I think it's one of those things that he's probably putting a target on himself, or feels there's a target on himself, rather than actually be a target on his back.
And just quickly, John Henderson, do you think he's one of those players that will probably utilise that break of a few days better than maybe others?
He's got the experience to know how to deal with these a lot better than anybody else would. He's been around for a long time and certainly at the very top end of the game. So absolutely, I think he'll use this well.
Looking forward to it tomorrow, aren't we?
Don't want you to ask me tomorrow who's going to win, because I think that's going to be a very tough one. So I'll save that for tomorrow. I'll give you a prediction tomorrow.
He'll do it tomorrow night after the last dart's gone in. Anyway, Matt, thank you very much. Always do appreciate your company up here on the Baggy. Thank you to you as well, tuning in wherever you are tuning in from. Thank you for spending your Good Friday here with us here at the Super Series. I hope you can join us again tomorrow night, 7:30. We kick things off here on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. So please do join us for that. It's going to be an Easter extravaganza of darts here from the live lounge. But as far as Group B is concerned, well, there was no collywobbles, was there?